Welcome to the Explainer. So, you've been dreaming of owning your own piece of land, right? But then you hit that massive brick wall. How on earth do you actually pay for it? Well, today we're going to completely demystify owner financing for vacant land. We are digging into a comprehensive guide from LandLimited. We're going to bypass those frustrating traditional routes and, specifically, we'll walk you through the exact 6 steps to buying land so you can finally secure a parcel of your very own.
Okay, let's dive into this. The primary frustration for so many aspiring landowners is actually pretty simple. Traditional banks absolutely hate raw land. They really don't like it. Why? Well, because a vacant parcel doesn't have a house on it to appraise, and there's no rent to underwrite. Because of this, lenders will very often just decline land loans under $50,000 right out of the gate, or they'll price them so defensively that it just doesn't make any financial sense for you.
So, here's our roadmap for today. We'll look at banks versus raw land, enter owner financing, the 6 steps to buying land, typical terms and costs, and we'll wrap it up with titles, deeds, and protections. Let's kick things off with Section 1, Banks versus Raw Land. And this brilliantly illustrates the problem. When you walk into a bank asking for a loan for vacant land, they usually want a massive 20 to 50% down. Plus, they charge way higher interest rates than a standard home mortgage, they demand strict credit checks, and it takes literally weeks to approve the loan. Owner financing, it completely flips that script. We're talking immediate approval. You can complete your purchase online that exact same day, and here's the real kicker, because of how it's structured, there is absolutely no credit check whatsoever. Which brings us to Section 2, enter owner financing. So what exactly is owner financing? Basically, the seller steps up and acts as the lender. They hold on to the legal title, while you, the buyer, hold an equitable interest and get the right to actually use the land until the balance is fully paid off. You might also hear it called a contract for deed or an installment sale agreement. It works because the company already owns the parcel, so they can totally afford to collect the price in installments. And since they keep the deed as security until that final payment clears, your credit history? Completely irrelevant. Moving right along to Section 3, our main focus for today, the 6 steps to buying land. All right, this right here is your exact roadmap to ownership. Step 1, you choose your parcel and carefully review the specific terms. Things like the price and the down payment. Step 2, you pay that down payment, which honestly can often just be done entirely online. Step 3, sign the purchase contract that details your payment schedule and who handles the taxes. Step 4 is super straightforward, just make your monthly payments until the balance hits 0. Step 5, at payoff, the seller goes ahead and prepares and records the deed in your name at the county. And finally, Step 6, you get your recorded deed in hand. And get this, at companies like LandLimited, that final step happens within just 4 to 6 weeks of your last payment. It is incredibly streamlined. Now for Section 4, typical terms and costs. So, what should you realistically expect to pay? Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this single number right here, $1. Yep, you heard that right. As of July 2026, LandLimited's down payments literally start at just $1 single for certain properties. Wow. Let's put these costs into perspective for a second. While LandLimited's down payments range from that $1 up to about $600, and their monthly payments sit comfortably between roughly $61 and $278, the broader industry average is a bit higher. Out there, in the rest of the market, you'll see advertised down payments commonly starting between $249 and $999, with monthly plans hanging right around the $200 mark. But honestly, either way, it's just so much more accessible than scraping together 20 to 50% for a traditional bank mortgage. But hold on a second. Before you go signing anything, you really need to verify a couple of things in the fine print. First, are there any sneaky document or service fees just tacked on top of the listed price? You want to know that up front. Second, who exactly is paying the property taxes during this payment term? This is vital because it totally varies from contract to contract. Some sellers pass those taxes through to you monthly, others bill you annually, and some actually just pay them themselves until the deed transfers over to you. Always get it in writing. And that takes us to Section 5, titles, deeds, and protections. So the crucial point here is that during the payment term, the seller still holds the legal title. That makes verifying the title quality the absolute most important thing you have to do before pulling the trigger on a purchase. A reputable seller should always guarantee the title is completely free and clear. That means absolutely no liens, no back taxes, and no hidden encumbrances just waiting in the wings to surprise you when you finally pay it off. You'll also want to look out for timeline protections. Reputable companies like LandLimited actually offer a grace period, like a 3-day money-back window, just in case you get cold feet or realize the parcel isn't quite right for you. On top of that, they offer this really cool exchange option during your term. Basically, if your plans change down the road, you don't have to just walk away empty-handed. You can literally move the payments you've already made onto a totally different parcel. And of course, at payoff, the seller legally executes and records the deed, completely transferring that ownership to you.
Now, here's a big question you need to ask yourself. Do mineral and water rights actually come with the deed? Seriously, this is a major caveat that so many first-time buyers completely overlook when they're shopping around for land.
The reality is, especially across a lot of the West and up in Alaska, mineral and water rights are very often severed from the service estate, mostly because of old historical mining laws. So they are definitely not guaranteed to convey when you buy the property. You have to always explicitly ask what comes with the deed before buying so you know exactly what you're getting into. Now, you might have some totally understandable anxieties about keeping up with all these contract terms. Like, what if you suddenly have the cash and want to pay it off early? Or, on the flip side, what on earth happens if you miss a payment? Okay, let's calm those fears right now. First off, yes, you can absolutely pay off the land early in most cases. Reputable sellers don't slap you with prepayment penalties for doing so. In fact, paying it off early just accelerates your deed transfer, which is fantastic. Second, while it's true that missing payments can mean defaulting and forfeiting what you've already paid, communication is key here. If money gets tight, reach out to them before you actually miss a payment. Like we talked about, using those exchange programs can offer a ton of flexibility and save the equity you've already built up. The ultimate takeaway from our source today really boils down to this. Because the seller retains the deed until the balance is paid, the contract itself is the security, so most programs run no credit check at all. That is exactly why this whole system works so beautifully for people who have just been sidelined by traditional banks for years. It is accessible, it's highly structured, and it is built entirely on the intrinsic value of the land itself. We've just walked through how incredibly straightforward the 6-step roadmap to buying land can be, bypassing all those traditional bank hurdles entirely with down payments that can start as low as a single dollar. The old financing barriers are essentially gone. So I'll leave you with this provocative thought. If credit scores and massive bank loans are no longer the gatekeepers to owning your own piece of the earth, what is stopping you from staking your claim? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.